everybody. Welcome back to the Spotlight on Amputee series. Hope everybody's doing great and just everybody's getting along out there. I always say the same things in the beginnings of my videos is hope everybody's doing great, staying safe and sane and healthy, and everyone's getting along out there. I don't know why I do that. It just kind of seemed like something that, I started saying it and people seem to really, really dig it. So I do hope those things for you. Hope everybody's doing great and everybody's getting along out there. Um, Now, tonight's video, or tonight's live tonight for you guys, we have somebody very, very special to me. Somebody who's been a part of my entire amputee journey. Somebody who's been with me since literally day one. Um, is a very, very special person. Somebody who, at the end of every single video that I put out, anything that I ever do, you always see this name at the end of every video, every anything. You've seen shirts, yeah, everything that has a Bulow on there. Well, if anyone's ever wondered who that is or where that name comes from or, anything like that, well, it comes from this gentleman right here, Mr. Matt Bulow. How you doing, brother?
Good, Josh.
Good deal. Good deal. You doing all right today?
Everything's great. Yep.
Right on. Right on. Still got that echo?
I do.
Huh. I'm not sure what that's strange.
Is it echoing on YouTube?
Not at all.
I'll deal with it.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Good deal. What's up, Miss Christy Yant? How you doing? Jenny AR-15. Good seeing you. Jeff Bice, my brother. All right. Well, like I was telling everybody, you've been my prosthetist since literally the very, very beginning. My very first leg I ever had back here behind me. I was below the knee, and now I'm above the knee, as we both know. And had a hell of a time fitting sockets to me and all that good stuff. And and yeah, you and I over that time have developed, a friendship, more so than you would do with anybody else, like you're any doctors or anything like that. and and yeah, I've always been interested and thought that the prosthetics world is so fascinating to me, and just how it how it operates and how it works, and everything that goes into it, because it seems like it's just, it's a carbon fiber socket, it goes around the leg, it's a mold and blah blah blah. Man, there's so much that goes into it. I've tried to illustrate on here best I can what all goes into it, but it's tough, man. I mean, there's without being back there and like running the line over the leg and running the stuff down and behind it, and it's tough to describe, but So anyway, Mr. Matt, you are a below the knee amputee, is that right? On your left side, right side?
Right below the knee. But man, you unpacked about a couple things I gotta say is first off, to do prosthetics well, it's fabricating the socket and making it fit and all that, but you got to have a relationship with who you're seeing. And you mentioned that we have that, and because as there's highs, there's lows, and it's not 3-minute appointments where somebody's coming in checking your labs and you're out the door. No. It's a big deal. So you hit on that, and I think you're totally right with that. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that. And it's something that I always take pride in, that it's a lot more than just the art of fitting somebody.
Absolutely, man. There's so much that goes into it. I mean, you would almost have to form, a not really like a lifelong bond with anybody, but a good working relationship and a good friendship. I always ask people, like my new people that come on, do you have a good working relationship with your prosthetist? Because that's very, very important.
I think it's why I bothered to go back to that, because I think I agree with you. It's super important. And I try to use who I'm seeing, the patient, the person, however you want to say it, as the guide. Is one person wants a friend's relationship, another person wants me to just maybe be a sounding board. So another person wants me to push them hard. Another person needs a little sympathy or empathy, and yeah. So I couldn't agree more with you. maybe first, I guess, is, the fit, the alignment, all that's super important, but you've got to have that other part too to kind of bring it home.
Now, how do you go about picking out a certain a certain setup for a person? Like as far as like, okay, we have your socket now for this particular person. I'm going to suggest this kind of knee, this kind of foot, these type of
Yeah.
components. How does that come into play? Like,
Yeah, great question. I would say that, again, I'm kind of reading my audience, because one person like you're more into wanting to be part of the experience of, man, tell me why this one and not this one. Other people are like, Matt, I got enough on my plate. You decide all that.
give me
So
something that works.
yeah, and so what I try to do is gather information, and almost like a ranking of like what's most important to someone. Adjustability, lightweight, dynamic. Where does your desires for your leg, what's the order? And then I can say, hey, what you're describing to me, and I'll kind of narrow it down to this or this, and then get some feedback. And that's where someone like yourself, again, you would want to give a lot of feedback, which is totally cool. And the next person I see doesn't want to give any feedback, and I might even skip that and jump straight to, man, my experience is this is what you're talking about.
I got you. So yeah, so I mean, you there's definitely both ends of the spectrum. You don't really. I could see that there's people that would come in and just more or less is just like, cool. I guess this is a prosthetic foot. This is my knee. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you. I'll come back if I need anything. And then there's other people I'm sure that show up much like myself that and we've talked about that before with other people is they'll show up to their prosthetist and they'll say, hey, I was looking at this the Rio knee, or I was looking at the Proflex, whatever, and a lot of them are puzzled. They're like, how in the hell do you know about this? Like, where did you learn about these parts?
Mhm.
Well, there are people like myself that, I want to know about the things. I want to see. And, I started looking at people like Amy Bream, and which, I mean, you work with as well.
Mhm.
Amy Purdy, who's another one. Kurt, my buddy. People, they all have these varying components, that kind of stuff. Well, I started getting interested in seeing what they had, and I was just like, wow, that foot does this foot does this. And you start to learn how much more stuff there is out there, so you start to get more questions and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, I've definitely been the more nosier one that wants to learn more. It's like I just want to try out different things, and
Mhm.
and all this stuff. I've had a mechanical knee.
Yep.
uh, I've had a used sea leg that I got from you that we couldn't get to hook up to the app, but
Yeah.
hey, it's still there though. It works, does sort of
Now,
good.
now, the best story, and maybe we don't use his name just for his privacy, but the legs, the knees you got from the famous songwriter, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you could say it. I've already said it on here before. That
Okay,
was,
yeah. I'm seeing this guy, just couldn't be a nicer guy. I mean, just awesome guy, and he's wearing like a CMA hat. He's got an earring, and it just sort of felt like he's in the music business. He's not just a music fan, and he's super humble. And I'm like, so are you in the music business? And he's like, yeah, I am. And I keep pulling, and then finally he's like, do you know the song Peggy Sue? And I'm like, I've heard it 500 times. And then what's the other big one? Buddy Holly. But anyway, he's written all these songs. And then very unfortunately, he passes away. And he had a couple cool knees that suited you. So I got one of them for you. And I know as a music guy, you were pretty pumped about that.
yeah. I still have it sitting literally right there behind me with all my other prosthetic legs that I still have. That's
Man,
my
I'm blanking
backup
on the other
leg.
big song, Peggy Sue and whatever.
Donna, oh Donna, oh
No,
Donna. That was Richie
that's
Valens.
Richie Valens.
So
It'll come to it.
they both died together actually. Wow.
Yeah, maybe somebody puts it in the chat, but it was like, man, it's like, you know this song, and I'm like, I mean, seriously, I've heard it 500 times. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Oh yeah. Let me see. Backwoods, what's up, brother? Miss Christy Yant, how you doing? See you pop back in. Scrolling down, Miss Tammy Conlon, good seeing you, my dear. I believe that was everybody.
I like
Carter.
whoever just said something nice about me in the chat, even though I've never met her. I like her.
Right there. That's Miss Christy Yant. She's awesome. Heard nothing but good stuff about you. Nice. Yeah, see? Nice to finally meet you, sir. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you guys have done nothing, not to blow smoke or anything, but you guys have done nothing but helped us out. I mean, it's been a rough ride as far as me having falls and everything else. Insurance approved me for my mechanical knee. That obviously didn't work too well. I mean, I bent it back to the point where it wouldn't even like we couldn't even pop it back out again.
Yep.
And then I went to, I believe, that locking knee that's
Yep.
behind me that was, which I can't even remember his name now. Jerry, what was his name? Jerry something.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, that
Just
guy, the
amazing guy.
yeah,
Amazing guy.
Buddy Holly's drummer, and and yeah, now I got my college part knee, and I love that one.
Okay, good.
But
Good.
yeah, you guys have done nothing but help me out and been, a huge part of both this channel and what I do. And, as far as helping people, that kind of stuff, giving me knowledge as far as how to help other people, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I've always been a huge Bulow proponent.
Well, man,
Literally, you guys.
I got to tell you, I'm going to interrupt you. It's nice of you to say, but we can produce the greatest prosthesis. You could get the top of the line component either paid for or your insurance pays for or whatever, but you got to go do something with it. And I feel like I almost remember the time where you flipped over to where, yeah, you were an active participant in it, but then it sort of clicked where you're like, yeah, I'm doing this. It was almost like when you went backwards into the locked knee. You're like, you know what? I'm, if I'm not getting that one, I'm going to go to this basic one, and I'm getting to it. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, here we go. I like it because that's what makes it happen.
Well, I mean, you got to think, man, at the time, I literally had a baby, you know,
Yep.
so you can't tote a baby around on forearm crutches. You can't really, the apartment that we have, I can't really get around in a wheelchair, so it's do or die. I mean, you have to get up and walk, and that was definitely where I stood.
Yep.
No pun intended. Is
Yep.
I had to have something. I had to do something, and yeah, after falling that many times,
Mm-hmm.
versus getting frustrated and just saying, well, I guess I just walk with forearm crutches now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've always done that. I've always looked at things as a challenge. I want to, be, I don't know, I want to be challenged. I want to be pushed down. I want people to say, hey, you can't do it. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, cool, watch this.
Well, you
And
should have told me that. I would have been a jerk to you earlier then.
you kind of were, but I mean, I just,
That's great.
never, never, ever, ever.
That's great.
So, going back in your own personal life and stuff, how did you become an amputee? Which I already know, but for the sake of my audience,
Yeah.
how did you become an amputee yourself?
Well, I was 14 years old and had a lump on my ankle, and it was totally, something that shouldn't be there. And we got it checked out. Turned out it was cancer. So it wasn't much longer. They did a biopsy and then realized that's what it was. Did the amputation below the knee, which, for the record, anyone listening, it's so much easier than above the knee, like Josh has. I mean, it's not even close. Like this is a bit slang here, but a lot of the military guys I see who are above the knee call a below the knee a paper cut. So
Just a flesh wound.
yeah, yeah. So it's not the same league. So that was pretty tough at that age, but then it got compounded a little that after the chemo that probably fried my pancreas, and then I was been a type 1 diabetic then since I was 16. So yeah, got a little 2-year double whammy there. But yeah, shoot, like you said, there's a point, like you just said with your child, is what are you going to do? I mean, people are like, oh, I don't know if I could have done this or that. And I guess my thought is, yeah, you could have. You just didn't have to. I had to.
Yeah, there's no
So,
choice.
yeah, don't really have a choice. So,
When you're not given a choice, it's
yeah,
totally different.
I think one big thing for me is I was just so super into sports that that was a big motivation to get back going as quick as possible. That I was missing a season. It's time to get back at it.
Right. At that time, were there advances in prosthetics as far as like blades and that kind of stuff? I mean, what
Yeah,
year are we talking?
yeah, man, not at all. Is and I have a picture. It was in the newspaper from high school tennis, and I was wearing the hard, looked like a mannequin leg with like a rubber foot, held on by a waist belt. So a belt, I'd wear a belt under my pants, and then it had a strap that went down and literally held the leg on with the belt. So
Okay.
yeah, no carbon fibers, none of that good stuff. But I'll tell you the real difference maker, of course, the carbon fiber foot versus a rubber foot, but that always gets all the credit. But the silicone liners, where you go from wearing wool socks on your stump or your residual limb, uh,
Hmm.
you're always my skin was raw all the time. To wearing a roll on silicone gel liner, that I mean that's what clicked it over. Where okay, I can go do things now. I don't have to do something, have a recovery day, do something, have a recovery day to
Yeah.
heal. So those were all that stuff was coming out, just a couple years into my journey.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, how
Well,
long? I
80,
mean,
yeah, what year? 84.
so with that, I would imagine you're pretty much a resident at the hospital for a while. I mean, being that young and dealing with that. I mean,
Well,
I would think.
yeah, not thing that was really different back then is you would go in for an amputation. I think I was in there for like 3 weeks. I mean, now you're in for one day. So, but then once I got out, then it was outpatient chemo and all that. So fortunately, no, I didn't have to be in the hospital a whole lot. I just got to feel pretty green at the house for about 6 months.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
good. I mean, not that part, but I mean, it's good that you didn't have to just basically stay there because I did. I mean, I lived there for months, months and
Mhm.
months. And yeah, that's not fun. It's not great at all. We'll say that,
It, 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 it's almost like when you're in the hospital, it sort of dehumanizes you a little when you're there for a period of time. Like it's almost like you lose your bearings of, you know, I don't know, way beyond what day of the week it is, but almost like who you are even. So no, I sympathize with that. That's not fun.
Dude, it's the sun goes up, the sun goes down, or the sun comes up, the sun goes down. Sun comes up, sun goes down. Sun
Mhm.
comes up, the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Out your window every single day, just
Yep.
over and over and over. With me being at Vanderbilt, where we were at, the particular room I was in for this last little stint I stayed in the hospital, the helipad was like 2 floors right above us.
Oh,
So you could just hear that every time it went to go take off. And when it actually left from the building itself, it was just like, oh my God. It sounded like like the windows are going to cave in on their side.
great for
But, so that was
sleep.
fun. Like 3 in the morning and
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so you've pretty much been into tennis and stuff like that, like forever, huh?
Well, it's weird. I actually didn't start playing until I was about 16. And then, which tennis is one of those sports that people start, super young and play it, hours and hours. I did not. I started pretty much before my senior year in high school, but then I just took to it and, I mean, literally practiced every single day and hard. So I eked on to the college team, and then, gosh, 4 years later, I'd been on the varsity team for 4 years. Um, So yeah, that was kind of my thing. They didn't have tennis in the Paralympics, so I did the Paralympics in '88, '92, and '96. But I would have to do track and field because they didn't have tennis. But I was just fortunate that I was
I see.
athletic enough to do that. To be honest, my passion was tennis.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, what like have you won gold or anything like that? Any kind of awards in it?
Yeah, I had the world record in the below the knee long jump from '93 to '96.
I know.
Um,
I just wanted to ask anyway.
yeah, well, that's good because that I think been about 20 years since someone asked that. So I'll send the check tomorrow for yeah, kidding. Yeah, so
This podcast is brought to you by Bulow Prosthetics
yeah,
in Nashville,
exactly.
Tennessee.
Yeah, yeah. Now it is. Um, Yeah, so I had some spring in my legs back then, which is kind of funny because I was getting down on the floor to try to turn some water off under a sink today, and it took me about 30 seconds to get up off the floor. So trying to picture long jumping right now, and not so much.
Well, hey, man, we all get older and fatter
Yeah,
and slower, and if you can get up and go to the bathroom and pee, then hey, it is
yeah,
what it is.
yeah. And fortunately, you and I keep getting better looking too. I don't know what's going on with that. What's
Hey,
that?
man, I'll gladly take going in reverse. It is what it is. The older
If
I
you have to
get,
say that, it's not true.
I don't know. Anyway, geez, man. Oh, but yeah, something we were talking about the other day is me and my wife, me and we were saying that it's always been funny to me because we were talking about Kurt, and we were saying that I've looked at like his leg and his foot that he has because he's just below the knee, so it's basically just socket and foot more or less.
Yeah,
Um, and I was looking at the components and stuff that he had, and I was just like, wow, I literally have that same exact foot. And it's always been kind of cool to me that like it doesn't matter what kind of celebrity they are, their status in life.
hmm
If your insurance approves it, you can have that same exact leg. Like there's no
hmm
really like upper tier. Well, I mean, there is upper tier like C legs and stuff like that, but I
sure.
mean, you can also be approved for that as well if your
Yeah.
insurance, deems it necessary. And a lot of people they find that to be really cool too. It's just like this celebrity can also have the same
Yeah.
exact parts you have. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's an unfortunate thing too that insurance carries the weight that they have. I mean, like I just had a situation today where, you know, pretty badly somebody needed something and the insurance said they were going to cover it for them, and then when it came time they didn't. And it's just it's the unfortunate part of our work. There's a lot of really cool parts, and that's the unfortunate part, that you can't just go do what is right. Fortunately, we haven't been around a long time and been really good customers of some of the top manufacturers of the knees and feet. We're able to kind of work some things uh, sometime to help people out when it's not going to go their way. So that's kind of a nice benefit of us growing a little bit with our practice, and I don't know, getting a little more chops in the profession where every once in a while when we need something we can get some help.
yeah, and that's much like me with that knee that we were just talking about. Same thing. I was literally fighting the insurance company.
Yeah.
Basically, it was going to be a pylon. Was
Yeah.
it was going to be, and what a pylon, for those that don't know, a pylon is just basically, it's like, here's your socket. It's a silver pole that goes
Yep.
down to your foot. That's it. There's no knee. There's no nothing. It's literally, sorry for saying it. It's a peg leg. It's
Mhm.
100% a peg leg. And nothing wrong with that. If anybody does have one out there, then hey, that's just kind of the way it is.
Yep.
But it was going to be that until you stepped up and was just like, I got something, at least it's going to get you down the road a little
Mhm.
bit longer until
Mhm.
my doctor stepped up and was just like, I have this Capitol Park knee that, you know,
Yeah.
I've been looking at. I think it's the coolest thing ever. So it just seems like right down your alley.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it sucks that they have such a grasp on that kind of stuff, and it really is their say so. Um, because they don't know you, they've never met you, they don't know anything. I mean, there's literally a prosthetist sitting here saying this person needs this particular component, and they're going, well, I'm looking at these numbers right here, and that wouldn't add up. So no, we can't. You know.
Frustration, but like as you know, we'll go make the best of it. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I've always loved about you guys is y'all definitely do help people out. You know, and we don't really have to go to into it on that, but yeah, you guys have always been like big to step up and help folks out, and that's what I've always loved about y'all is and I've said that on here before, is I can literally go in there and just or just call Tierra or whoever up front and just walk in and say, hey, I have this problem with my leg. It's not really like a big issue. It's just kind of
mhm,
cocked to the side a little bit. Is it something that we can take a look at?
mhm,
9 times out of 10, yeah. And I've
mhm,
had like you or I've had another tech come out there and I've walked back and forth literally right there in the lobby and be like, what do you think? It's
mhm.
like, yeah, this is awesome. It's like, all right, cool, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude, that right there is worth its weight in gold. I mean, that's huge. And I've always loved that about you guys for sure. So not to again blow smoke, but you guys are very big on that kind of stuff, man. And
thanks.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, man.
um,
I
but
see him
yeah, I mean,
fighting the insurance right now, and it's frustrating. It's just to do the best you can.
yeah. Yeah. So I saw there was a question here real quick, and I don't know if it was
Yeah.
for me or for you, but let's see. Let's see. Do you try out new and up and coming parts for legs being that you
Wow.
work close with manufacturers?
Yeah.
Do you guys get to demo stuff like that?
I
No?
do that a lot because I want to be able to when you like I said when you give those rankings of what's most important to you and so forth. I want to it's a nice little unfair advantage that I can have to say, hey, I've tried that actually, and you want a lot of dynamics out on the toe, and this one's actually quite stiff. I know it sounds the ad looks great, but I don't think that's for you. So I actually do that a lot. I used to do a lot more testing of stuff. I haven't really been doing that in the last, I don't know, 20 years, but
Hmm.
yeah, no, I'd say most of the good stuff out there I've tested. So pretty firsthand knowledge on a lot of the stuff.
Okay. Good deal. And
Hey, I'll say real quick, Josh. I
yeah.
always think this is like, what if I were a prosthetist but not an amputee? And then what I would do is and I tell residents this is you have to relate someone else you've seen who's like the person you're seeing then and say, hey, I had this experience with someone like you and they told me that this was the one that they chose because of this. So yeah.
Okay. I got you. And I know you guys like will do that with your I guess I was gonna say patients. They're not really patient. We're not really patients of you guys. I guess sort of, but um I know there's like testing programs and stuff for us as well, that if we can also give you guys feedback and that kind of stuff on parts.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never really got into that.
We definitely do that because we've got a strong association with OSER, and
Mhm.
OSER and Ottobock are kind of considered the top dogs in the profession as far as knees and feet and liners. And we don't use only OSER stuff, but we do get the opportunity lots of times to give feedback on new products and so forth. So but we absolutely do get a lot of that, what you were talking about of early in the development testing and so forth. We're
Yeah.
actually, I'll tell you, we're testing right now, pretty cool, is instead of a cast, we're doing a scan of the limb with really high quality 3D scanners, and then you do the shaping that we would do manually with plaster, and then you send that to a 3D printer, and it actually 3D prints the test socket.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We did stage 1 of that testing. My buddy in Houston, the Houston clinic associated with us, and we're just about to start it in 6 other locations across the country, one of which will be local. So yeah, pretty cool. So
That is badass.
yeah.
Yeah, because I've got videos on here of you actually. It was you and I think it was Robert that
Okay.
but we were I mean it was like step by step of step one casting or step one is measuring to get your casting done.
Mm.
Step two casting. That's all on this channel. And yeah, I try to give the best kind of detailed description of what all goes into it and everything. And it's a lot, man. It is definitely a lot. And I was always wondering if the 3D printers and stuff like that are going to start to kind of take forefront and kind of get more into prosthetics and that kind of thing because technology is always progressing, that kind of stuff. So that's really really cool that they're actually doing that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I we've been talking about it for a few years, and I never jumped in on it because that's not really my area of expertise. It's more the clinical side of using technology like that. And
Sure.
this guy in France came up with one that we're really high on, and yeah, we're going deep uh, on testing it, and probably going to make a nice little investment as far as getting some of the printers and transferring a lot of our care over to that.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Backwoods, you be safe, brother. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. Um, Now, something I've always been curious about, and something that me and my wife are talking about, is being a prosthetist that is an amputee. I'm assuming you don't cast yourself, do you? That seems like from the angle that you're sitting at, it would be kind of hard to do. You would kind of have to be facing the limb like right in front of you. How does
Yeah,
that
I
work?
actually always have done it.
Really?
Yeah, I have, but I'm thinking for this next one, it might be time to turn it over to someone else. But yeah, no, I actually have done that. It just worked in reverse. And I guess I thought my thinking was I can really feel what I'm doing on myself, so I could get
That's true.
almost best of both worlds of not just my knowledge of having done it for 33 years, but I can feel like I want more pressure here, so I mold more aggressively there. So yeah, I have done that, as crazy as it sounds.
That is wow. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Because I was like, surely not. I mean, how would you do that? Because I mean, it's going to be like, again, you would stay bent over for like almost 2 hours trying to trying to get everything wrapped up. Because I mean, it's a lot that goes into. I don't have to tell you, but they don't know. There's a whole lot that goes into it. And
So did
yeah,
you
it's.
lose that bet? Are you making dinner tonight then, or?
I've already made dinner. I have a pregnant wife and a little girl in there, so yeah, I've already made dinner, brother.
Okay, good for you. Good for you.
I do that every night anyway. That's it is what it is.
Nice. Good stuff.
Yeah, no. She hangs out and chills and takes it easy. That's what I want her to do. So, oh
Perfect.
yeah. Right on.
Yeah, I saw a question in there. What barrier cream do you recommend? I don't use any. There are a few on the market that people talk good about. A company Alps, makes a couple good ones, I believe. I've just always liked the feel of just trying to keep my leg clean and dry. So yeah. And some people like using these silver socks too, the under a liner, for skin
Okay.
protection and moisture absorption. Again, it's one of those things I find that people either like it or they don't like it. And I tend to not like it. I just want, dry, clean, and then the liner rolled up on my leg.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never really been much on that either. Before, when you and I were doing the custom liners, remember we were
Hmm.
doing that for a while, and I had this kind of lubricant stuff that was supposed to go like the barrier stuff. It was like a little tiny little white bottle,
Yep.
and that worked all right. But we looked up how much more of it costs, and we were like, yeah, we got to figure out something else. And that's when I was coming into your place there, and it was like full of lotion and everything else. Like we were trying everything because it was hanging up in there and it was tearing. It was
Yep.
the wound was actually coming back apart. Which I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
you saw that whole journey. You were there.
Sure.
Um, but now I don't use anything at all. I mean, I put my liner on and go at it.
Yep.
With mine, the one that you guys what we all settled on is the Veros 2, the Autobot
Hmm.
Veros 2, and I love that one, man. I mean, it's awesome. It's got the magnet,
Yep.
the liner in it and everything. Um, and yeah, I've always been a big fan of that one. Anything that's fully adjustable has always been like my go-to. Like
Yep.
I
And
I just
it's a perfect example though, is for you, that's perfect. For the next person, that's bulky and cumbersome. And so it's so true that there's just not one, it's not a one size fits all. For you, it's so right up your alley. Yep.
absolutely. Yeah, I had no idea that that even existed. And then my doctor, who we won't say his name, but my doctor, suggested he was just like, "Hey, check this out." And then we were at his office one day, and he actually like spun the laptop, the computer monitor around, and we watched like he pulled the trailer video up for it on YouTube, and we watched it, and he was just like, "This." He's like, "This is what I want to get for you." And even he was just like, "It may piss Matt off because." He don't get to make one for you. He goes, I know their team likes to make sockets and everything. It's kind of their thing. He's like, but man, he's like, this is just perfect for what you're going through and what you're sitting here and telling me and what I'm seeing. He's like, this just seems like the perfect fit.
Yep. Yep.
Because once a socket is like a fiber socket is made and completed, there's no like trimming it down and stuff like that, is there? I mean,
Yeah, there is, but we can also custom make adjustable ones. It's a
mhm.
system called Revo or EVO,
Yep.
but not to the extent that yours is. Yours is every product's got its strength and weakness, and the strength of yours is adjustability. So
Oh, I can't really. There we go. But either way, that's the one that we made for me like
yes,
a long, long while back.
yeah, yeah,
Remember this one?
I sure do. That's the custom that's in the back there, the dial that he can tighten, and that carbon cutout will move in and out for adjustability.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's not showing too good on the green screen, but yeah, there you go.
Yep.
That's a Matt Bulow custom socket right there, ladies and
Yep.
gentlemen. But yeah, the green screen really does me no favors as far as that kind of stuff goes.
Hmm.
But but yeah, man, that's awesome. Um, so what made you want to get into being a prosthetist? Like, what made just like what flipped that switch in your head and was just like, man, I'd like to get into this, because I can, after coming and seeing you so many times and being a part of this for so long, I can totally get it. Like, I kind of want to do this myself, you know what I mean? But me being 46 years old, kind of late in the game to get into that kind of stuff. So right now,
Yeah, I just think it was right at the perfect time for it. Is you're in high school, you got to go do something, and it for me was a good job of you could help people. You can make a good career of it for yourself if you worked hard and took care of people. It's an active job. You know, you're in and out of the patient rooms all day. You're building things with your hands. So it's part art, part science, part people. So yeah, I gravitated to it pretty quickly. I was working part time, just building things for a big clinic through college during summer breaks and Christmas breaks, and then went straight to Northwestern from undergrad and just got it done. I mean, by the time I was 23, I was certified. So, you know, this is 34th year of it. So it's pretty much all I've ever done. Which the good thing about that is you've done thousands and thousands. The bad thing is there's not. I don't know how to do a whole lot else. So I'm pretty good at cutting grass, so that might be my next gig.
But I mean, it's always going to be a necessary thing to have. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah,
never going to go out of style. It's never going to be outsourced to Amazon or the internet. You know,
yeah,
it's just not going to work like that. I mean, and you
that's right.
guys can
It's
actually,
custom personal work. Hey,
yeah,
Josh, I'm seeing. I don't have my glasses on. Somebody asked about liners. Yeah,
yeah. I was getting ready to click that.
I definitely think OSUR, OSSUR. I mean, not always. There's no always. They are kind of known as the liner company that makes the best. Autobach is known for making really good knees for above the knee amputees. Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Tammy is a below the knee, so
Okay. Cool.
yeah, she's below knee. So yeah, let's see. Miss Christie was asking, but yeah, you were kind of answering anyways. What
Yeah.
kind of schooling and training does go into that? So after college,
Yeah.
what all of it after
Yeah.
that?
It's a master's program now, and I think there's 13 schools now in the U.S. So you've got to go get your master's, and then you, after all that, you come back and do an 18-month residency. So you've got to get your undergrad, master's, 18-month residency, and then you can take your board exams. So it's a lot to it.
Okay, okay. So like whenever I've been over there, and like people like Robert and people like that have helped us out in the past, that's what they're doing is like they're in training basically, kind of, or
Yeah,
getting their hours in, so to speak.
yeah, it's their residency. So they've been to school. You know, like gosh, you've seen a bunch of them. Courtney, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Luke, over the years. Gosh, could have been Nicole.
All of
Yeah,
them.
well, they all were there doing their residency, and then now every person that I just mentioned now, except Luke, has completed that. They're all certified now, so they're all full board certified.
Okay, right on. And with that, I mean, you can go work for like Bulow or the other company that starts with an H, and you know, there's lots of different places like that. But what is like? Do you see a lot of people like that will go to like the VA and places like that? Like, you know, like that's kind of what they do is just kind of more or less stay with like the Veterans Affairs and that kind of thing.
Sometime, and sometime I'll see people do private practice for a while and then almost want to, I don't want to say slow down, but more predictable hours and so forth at the VA, you know, as sort of a next phase of their career. Um, but yeah, I'll tell you, anyone listening that's interested, there's actually a bit of a shortage of CPOs, that's certified prosthetists and orthotists in the US right now. So, I mean, it's, you know, the reimbursement is down. So I'll have to say that, you know, you're not, it's not a job to go do to get rich quick. But it's a really rewarding job and people need good CPOs. So, and there are spots open for sure.
Totally, man. A good one is a dime. I mean, I'm gonna say a dime a dozen. They're, you know, very few and far between. I'll say that. There's a lot of people out there that just kind of want to put you in a leg and send you out the door. Thank you and have a good day. And then there's other people that, you know, like I said, you guys, and there's there's other clinics out there that I've heard that do really 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 great things, that we've also mentioned on this channel as well, like people that want to come on do their interview and that kind of stuff. I'm like, if you have a good working relationship with your prosthetist, say their name. We'll throw them out there. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
we're kind of a Bulow family here, but still, I mean, we can still, we can say, hey, go see whatever in Colorado Springs, or whatever. Um, because it's good, man. It's good to have a working relationship, and it's good to something I'm curious about, but something that it's good to have working relationships with other prosthetic companies. Like, do you guys do that at all? Like, as far as like, work with J&L Prosthetics in Arizona or whatever,
You know what? We're lucky that we've got a kind of a network of clinics. We're all rebranding to Four Motion Clinic this year. So like the local Bulow is going to be Four Motion here in a month or two. So we have them in, gosh, 20 states. So we have this network. So we have mentor programs, we have partner programs where you've got a tough case and you could call your buddy in Houston, Texas, or Alabama or Indiana that are your colleagues, and circle people in. We've got upper limb specialists. So we definitely have that within our own company now.
nice, awesome. Well, I need to get me some updated shirts and everything too, so we
In the
can.
next month or so, they're going to be there. So
All right.
turn a screw loose or something. So you got to go in there and get something tightened up and get a shirt.
There's always something on my legs, man. I beat the hell out of mine, so yeah, we'll figure something out, or
Yep,
hell, just stop in and say hey to everybody, why not? I mean,
exactly.
hell, they're all my homies anyway. I love those folks, man.
Yeah.
That's another thing is, I was telling somebody else is what I love about Bulow, and again, not because you're sitting here in front of me, is it has what I like to call a cheers atmosphere where
Mm,
everybody knows your name. You walk in, hey Josh, how's it going?
good, good.
Everybody's just super friendly, super, you don't feel like, name, date of birth, it's not that, and
Mm.
it's always felt like friendly. They feel like they're your friends when you go in, and man, kudos to you guys on that.
I'll tell you
'Cause
why I'm
it's
particularly
rare.
glad to hear that. I mean, for the obvious reasons, but I talk all the time about the importance of the front office team. And, you deal with me some, but honestly, think about through the process of getting a new leg or so forth, you're dealing with Tierra and the team more than you are me. And if they're not good to work with, then I'm not good to work with. So I'm really happy to hear you say that, because I'm a cheerleader for that position. I think it's super important.
Yeah, everybody's been super friendly. Michelle's always been super nice to me. Been always been very helpful. I've never really had to deal with her a whole lot as far as like her end of things, but she's also an amputee herself, which I always thought it's always been really cool to me, and it was very very reassuring whenever the first time I went in over there, and you come walking in and you have a prosthetic yourself. And it
Mhm.
was just like, wait a minute now, what's going on? And because I didn't know, I had no idea. I had talked to my buddy Luke,
Ah,
who as well, and but we never really addressed that. He never really told me that before, so it was
mm.
just kind of I guess he told me he didn't tell me on purpose, just maybe surprise me. I don't really know, but
I'm
that
talking
was
about another good dude.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love Luke. That's my buddy right there.
Yeah,
Luke and Herb, both amazing, amazing people.
yeah. I was seeing all
Yeah,
your friends before I saw you.
yeah, yeah, right, exactly. And that was the funny part is I started telling people, it was just like, where are you going? I was like, Bulow. They were like, wait a second. It's like, for real? Are you saying that? Like, how did you know that's where I went? That kind of thing. It's just like, I didn't. That's just where I'm going. They were like, oh, don't worry, you're gonna be dealing with Matt, so you're good. Everybody was like, oh, don't worry about it. Then you're straight.
I have to. I think again, if I wasn't an amputee and I was a prosthetist, I mean that's fine. There's great prosthetists who are not amputees, but I would have to have some sort of patient models where someone that you could meet if something like that was really important to you. I,
Hmm.
I would need to have that worked out.
Yeah, you're advocates, man. I mean, that's
Right.
very, very important for sure. 100%. I mean, you hell, you do that anyway. Because I mean, that's what I was saying. What I do with this channel and stuff. It's not, not everybody in that audience that we're sitting here in our chat right now is missing a limb. But
Hmm.
they're still here supporting, learning, and that kind of stuff. So as much knowledge as you can put out about this kind of stuff, man, go for it and do
Yeah.
it. And that's what I try to do here is I try to, because you never know. I mean, this can happen. I never thought I was going to be an amputee. I did.
Yeah.
Who does? You didn't either. Nobody does. Unless you're just born like that, then hey, you just kind of adapt and go with it.
That's right.
Um, but you know, you just kind of you gotta really really focus and hone in on. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I don't know, I'm getting off topic here, but anyway,
No,
I
you
totally
have
lost train of thought.
motivation. You
Huh?
have motivation, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
um, you know, uh, this one superstar amputee that I see, I was talking to him about working out and getting fit, and he stopped me before I even started talking and was like, the first thing is figure out why you want to do this. What's your motivation? Because, early morning's going to come, the training's going to be ready. And if you don't have a reason why you're doing this, you're not getting out of bed. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's kind of what I was getting from where you're going is find what's your why and for your motivation.
Well, yeah, that and I guess what I was really trying to get at before I got all brain locked. Somebody was talking to me. Is it's beneficial to everybody. The information is very very
Mm,
beneficial to
mm,
everyone because you can help your friend, you can help your cousin, your sister, brother, whoever that may be going through this kind of stuff. And what if they don't know this kind of thing and they've just been coming here and hanging out with this one-legged dude calls himself motivated one-legger and hey, I've been learning all kind of crazy shit and just watching this guy.
yeah.
And it can be beneficial to them or somebody else that they know, and maybe this information can be passed on because
Mhm.
there's not a lot of resources out there
Mm.
for. It's just kind of like, here's your prosthetic. Good luck to you. Have a
Yeah,
good one.
or even if there is a lot of information, a lot of it is sales and marketing stuff. And I always try to combat that a little bit by not being a downer about it, but realistic expectations. Like think about yourself. The first year wasn't all rosy. And I try
No.
to make sure that I tell people that is hey, I know that all you've seen from this is people who can jump far and high and run fast is that's not the real world of prosthetics. Is That's about 1%, if even. Even as many active people as I see, man, I'd say less than 1% actually want to run. So I try to be realistic, because the information that is out there is usually something dramatic, and it's like you don't have to be dramatic to have a successful journey with this.
Yeah. And I've said that time and time again. You're gonna see because a lot of people they'll lose their limb, and they immediately they're at home, healing up that kind of stuff, and they start watching YouTube and that kind of
Yep.
stuff, and they all start gravitating towards those amputee videos,
Yep.
and they start looking at people like my friend Kurt or Amy Bream, Amy Purdy, Ben Lavelle. There's lots of people out there that are doing like crazy things. Nick Lavery. that are just like lifting weights and climbing mountains and doing all this stuff. And it's just like, man, don't watch those and get like this, I'm never going to be able to do that when you really couldn't do that before. I mean,
I use Michael Jordan on. You talk about Nick or Amy and all those. Is you don't get deflated about shooting hoops because you can't do what Jordan does. Well, Lavery, Bream, they're Michael Jordan. They literally are Michael Jordan. So
100%.
you can use it as motivation and fun to watch and so forth. But then you just got to be yourself.
Yeah, learn from it, see what they're doing, and adapt their style to what you're doing. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, I never really thought about that. See how she's moving her leg? When she lifts that weight, she'll kick that leg out like that. I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
That's what I use that kind of stuff for. Is like a roadmap on how to adjust and how to get used to doing certain things. And that's what I get from them. Because like I said, if you try to start comparing your own story to this and like what they're doing,
Yeah.
that depression, that
Yeah.
PTSD, that stuff that you're sitting there, that if it hasn't hit you yet, it's about to.
Yeah.
That is, it's going to be 10 times worse for you because you mainly just need to focus on walking and just simply healing up and just moving on to the next thing and being that person you were before. And that's what I tell everybody.
Probably the most important thing we've said in this hour is just, you just can't, like, I mean, if I try to do some stuff Amy does, I mean, I'd be in the hospital. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
she's Michael Jordan and you just, you honor it and you're inspired by it and frankly entertained by it. And then it just motivates you to do what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And, again, as far as like the stuff that I do here, there's a couple YouTube channels, that kind of thing, but there's really nobody out there that's really getting it done in the sense that um, they're trying to actually help people and
Mm.
help other people as far as like they're trying to I don't know. They're motivating people and that kind of thing, but they're not really showing the nitty gritty of the whole thing. They're kind of showing the. I just realized that says Nick Bonkowski. I am so sorry. Look, but they're not really showing the dirty side of it. They're showing the triumphant part of it and that kind of stuff. The gold medals and the flowers and that kind of thing. Here, I mean, we're not showing you blood, sweat, and tears and guts and that kind of stuff, but it certainly is.
It's
We're
real.
not going to be patting you on the back. It's real. Yes, exactly. We're not going to be patting you on the back and saying, hey, buddy, it's all great. We're going to tell you, yeah, it sucks, but at the same time, it's something you can do. And when you are ready to do that, here's a bunch of information that can help you along and maybe make life a little bit easier in this transition that you're now forced to take.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think it's probably the
So,
most important thing. Like I said, this it's the if nothing else, that's good there. And it's not neither one of us is saying like it's an excuse. Is we're saying no, motivated at your own level, not jumping from the free throw line and dunking. I mean,
yeah, no. Get up and walk to your mailbox and back.
yeah,
Do that. And at that, when you get back on that porch, raise your freaking hands in triumphant victory because, I mean, you kicked ass just now, do that. It's the whole crawl before you can walk thing, definitely crawl before you can walk. And with amputees, we tend to do that anyway. But a lot of times, anyway.
I actually remember you just reminded me of something. You sent me a video of you. I think I just remember there's stairs between a couple buildings, and you're walking there, and then I think upstairs. That's been a few years back, but that was kind of one of those moments.
Yeah, butt scooting. That's what
Ah,
that video. That's on this channel. I'm actually butt
okay.
scooting up the steps. I try to show you guys like, I try to show the audience rather like a few different ways of getting up the steps. Everything from like day one
Yeah.
all the way up to right now. Few years down the road with your prosthetic and that kind of thing. It like I said, it helps people out with seeing the process of everything. So I think that's pretty cool. But man, Matt, I greatly appreciate you coming on, hanging out with us, brother. Um, is
Enjoyed
there
it.
any questions or anything you got for me before we depart?
No, man, I've enjoyed it. I would say, if there's any questions that pop up, you can always hit me up and I'll answer them, and then you can just post it on here or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And sorry, I got spaced out for a second. Somebody was talking to me, so I was sitting here trying to just be
Oh,
like, shh. So
all
I
good,
do
man.
apologize. My bad.
Hey, I enjoyed the hour, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, thank you for coming on, and yeah, man, thank you again. I'll say real quick, before you head out, is everything you guys have done for this channel, everything you guys have done for us, my family. I can't thank you enough, man. I mean, it's been huge to us. Don't ever think it goes unnoticed or unappreciated, because that's never ever been the case, nor will it ever be. Okay.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for saying it.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for
Have
coming
a
on
great
and hanging
night,
out with
man.
us.
Okay,
What's
man.
that?
I just said good night. Thanks very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
See ya.
All right. All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us. Sorry, I got freaking sidetracked for a second. You guys have been awesome. Everybody that's just been coming and hanging out with us tonight. Thank you guys for being a part of these shows. I hope you guys, when you guys come, you learn stuff from them. If you don't learn stuff from it, then I hope you at least have fun and just hang out with us and just be a part of it. And you guys are asking questions, that kind of stuff, and getting involved. And man, thank you guys so much for that. It truly means everything. I want to thank Firmu Eyewear. I want to thank Bulow Prosthetics, and I want to thank Taggart and Torrance Podcast for everything they do for the channel and just being their overall amazing self. Again, special thank you to Matt Bulow for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Thank you everybody for coming and being a part of the show tonight. Miss Christy Yant, good seeing you, my dear. Let me see. Backwoods, good seeing you, brother. Jeff Bice. Let me see, scrolling down here. Janie AR15. Miss Tammy Conlon, thank you for coming and hanging out. Trolling for Jesus, good seeing you, brother. Blue Eyes, good seeing you. Thank you for being here. Let's see, I thought we had more folks. Kate Bulow. Hey, Kate Bulow, good seeing you. Thank you for coming. All right. So again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for just being a huge part of this show. Without you guys, there's no way in hell that I'd ever be able to even do it, because we wouldn't even have an audience to even be talking to. So, so with that, everybody, please stay happy, safe, sane, motivated. Don't look back. Don't give a crap what anybody else says about you, because at the end of the day, it don't matter. We'll see you next time.